Hello. There has been a lot of stuff happen since the last video I made on this channel. Too much stuff, actually. I think today's video is going to be a long one because we have a lot of stuff to get through. For the nerds in the audience, today's video is being filmed with my Hi8 XR camcorder using that fancy vintage Sony Metal HG cassette. I've never used that, so I want to give it a try and see how good the video quality is with it. And also, I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but I've actually got the lights out here. I'm being illuminated by the built-in light on the camcorder just because it's nighttime and I don't feel like turning the ceiling light on. So I guess when we left off in the last video, it was my 9-month HRT update, and I said everything was going fine, and I discussed my name and the channel name. And the channel name, as you can see, did end up changing, and the Maritime Girl was the name that won. So I've changed all my internet accounts that let me change the name. I've changed the name of all of them to the Maritime Girl. And I like the name. A lot of other people like the name. Kind of funny, I lost about 10-15 subscribers when I uploaded a video on the main channel announcing the name change. And it's kind of funny, it's crazy how, people subscribe to you for like the tech videos or whatever, and that literally never changed, but they decide that they can't watch your videos anymore because of something totally unrelated. It's stupid. People are silly. People are weird. People do weird things, and I don't understand why, but it's all bridge under the water. You'll notice that I'm not dressed very fancy today. I'm in a t-shirt and sweatpants. Of course, it's the weekend, so I didn't care anyway, but something I've found now that I'm, in the latter stages of my transition is that as my transition sort of begins to complete, the physical changes and stuff, and I begin to learn how to do stuff with, like, how to do makeup and stuff, and I gather, female clothes that I can wear. As I get to do all this stuff and I become more comfortable with how I look and how I am as a person and all that stuff, as I become more comfortable with my new female self, I find I don't have that need, that sort of anxiety with, I have to look like a woman whenever I show myself to the public. Before, I felt like I had to dress up females for these videos so I can make a statement. I had to, dress female for when I go out in public, so, to have the highest chance possible of people seeing me as female. But I found that now I'm beginning to relax a bit and become more comfortable with myself and how I look and everything like that. And so dressing up fancy for something like this isn't important to me anymore. And that's really nice. It's really nice when you get to have that feeling and you get to be more comfortable with yourself. That, I think, is one of the biggest positive outcomes of a gender transition, is that you begin to love yourself for who you are, regardless of any flaws or imperfections you might have. And I have definitely found that that's been the case with me, and it really is great. So on to the news of my transition. I think tomorrow will mark 10 months on HRT. That's really nice. I have to schedule a blood work appointment. It'll probably be next week. And then in early October, I see the endocrinologist. And so if everything goes well and my hormone levels are still stable, then I won't have to get monthly blood work done anymore. I can just, it'll be every 3 months, I think. And that's really nice. I'm a little worried about what this next blood work's going to be like, because now that school has started, I am back in school now. Now that school has started and my schedule's really weird, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I have one class in the morning, And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have 2 classes which are in the evening. So my schedule's all over the place, and I'm no longer on a regular schedule taking my pills. Sometimes I remember to do it when I get up in the morning, usually Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I remember to take them. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have a alarm set that goes off in the morning, like a reminder on my computer that reminds me to take them, but I never do it because I'm dumb, I guess. And so I've been taking my pills really erratically, and that's not good. So I've had to do a change of plans. I've edited the notifications so that it goes off in the afternoon now, because I'm always awake in the afternoon and usually home in the afternoon. So I'm switching my pills from taking them in the morning to taking them in the afternoon, and hopefully that'll make it so I don't forget to take them anymore, which would be good, because I don't want to mess up the blood work results. So on to other news. Of course, because I'm back in school, I am no longer at work, but I did actually come out at work. I said I was going to do it all summer. I did actually do it. I came out at work. Something kind of cool is I actually came out. There was one person at work who wasn't actually one of my coworkers. I didn't work with her, but she happened to reside in the cubicle beside my cubicle, so we talked to each other quite a bit. This person and I, we both take lunch later than everyone else, just because that's what we do. And so one day, when everyone else had gone to lunch and it was just her and I in the immediate vicinity, I had a fit of courage, and I asked her if I could come over into her cubicle and talk to her about something, and she said yes. And I came over and I spilled the beans. I said, I've basically been living a double life, and when I'm not at work, I live as a woman. And it went great. We had a really great conversation. She was totally supportive. I showed her a picture of myself, and her response to the picture was, "You look hot," which was really cool, really heartwarming and validating. But yeah, she was totally fine with it. She was, flattered that I told her. And yeah, we had a really great conversation about it, and that gave me a lot more courage to come out to my coworkers when that time would come. And that time did come. It was on my last day of work. My last day of work, I had a meeting with my coworkers to discuss the final results of the project that I'd been working on all summer. And near the end of it, I got to the part, which is something I always do when it comes to the end of a job, is I ask some questions about how did I do, what could I have done better, stuff like that. And when it got to that point, I told him, I basically said the same thing I said to my cubicle neighbor. I said I have something to tell you guys, and I spilled the beans to him and told him I was a trans woman. And once again, it went really well. They were glad that I told them. They were actually a little sad. They said they were a little sad that I felt that I couldn't, that I felt like I couldn't be myself at work, but I reassured to them that it was my own fears and that was about it. But I asked the coworker who actually interviewed me for the job, and I said, would anything have been any different if I had come in, as a woman, as an obvious trans woman? And his answer was sort of wishy-washy. He said, no, the answer would obviously be no, but it's impossible to tell how he could have reacted at that time. I was competing for the job with one other person, and could me being a trans woman have been that, could that have tipped the scales enough that the other person would have got the job? Nobody knows. I mean, hopefully no, but it's difficult to tell. But nonetheless, they were all very supportive. They were happy that I told them, and they were happy that I came out to them, and so it was really good. And it was sort of bittersweet leaving work. I had actually been, you know, sort of looking forward to going back to school and moving on, mostly because I was looking forward to being able to go full time, because I believe I said in a previous video that once I was out of work I was going to try and go full time. So it's kind of good to be able to move on, but at the same time I really miss those guys, because you know, we all really got along well, and they were really happy with the work I did and everything like that. So sort of bittersweet. It's kind of cool. Well, I suppose I should begin first. I did go full time. As of September 1st, the day that I was laid off from work, I officially went full time. So I've been full time for a little over 3 weeks now. I'm going to school as a female, wearing my dresses, wearing makeup, everything. I'm doing things in public as a female, and it's all going really well. The first couple of days of school were really scary, because it was the first time I ever wore, well, basically the first time I ever, you know, presented as fully female in school. There was one day last year, one day that I went to work in a maxi skirt and that purple turtleneck top, and that was the day that I went to that banquet that I mentioned several videos back a few months ago. So that was I went to school that day, but of course it was the dead of winter. I wore I wore my heavy winter jacket, so I was well covered up, and so unless you really, and I didn't know how to do makeup at the time, so unless you really looked at me, you know, I wasn't very exposed as a female, just because I was so covered up. But now that I can do makeup and I have dresses to wear and the weather is still reasonable, I went to school, you know, first day of school, wearing one of my tea dresses. Actually, I think it was my turtleneck dress, and makeup, of course, and it was super scary going to school as a female for the first time, but I went and it all went just fine. As a matter of fact, one of my professors for one of my classes, who I had for a class last year, he saw me and just said hi and spoke to me like he had always spoken to me. So that was really it was really nice. And all my friends, of course, they're all treating me just the way they always have. So yeah, going full time, it was scary to make that plunge, but everything is going super great and I couldn't be happier. So there's still a little bit of work to do though. While I'm now very comfortable going to school as a female, I'm still a little on the anxious side when it comes to doing stuff in public, like in town as a female, like going to the grocery store or going to run some errand or something. I'm pretty comfortable now going out in makeup, but I've yet to actually walk into town or the grocery store or whatever in a dress. I'm still a little bit too scared to do that. I think it's mostly because, of course, walking is my main mode of transportation, and when you're walking, when I'm by myself on the sidewalk, I'm alone, and if I pass by a stranger who decides that he doesn't like me and he wants to let me know of that, I'm not around other people who could help defend me or whatever. I'm sort of on my own. Now, to be fair, I'm 5'11" and 200 pounds, so it's not like a lot of people could take me down, but I am very weak and there are still a lot of people bigger and or stronger than me, so it's a little worrisome. So I haven't gotten up the courage to put on a dress and go out in town, but I want to be able to do that. I have, however, gone out in like long sleeve stuff, like a female long sleeved top, like a cardigan or whatever, and a pair of jeans, like my female jeans, because that's all I can wear now because my butt's so big. And I can do that and have makeup and everything, and I've done that a few times and I'm totally comfortable there, but I haven't done it just wearing a dress like one of my tea dresses yet. I feel too exposed and it makes me feel a little unsafe when it comes to going out in town, but I know I'll be able to work past that just like I've worked past everything else up to this point. So with time, I'm sure I will gather up the courage to do that. But I think it's really great now that I can go to school every day in a dress or whatever I want to wear and makeup, and it's totally fine. I really, really like it. Now you may wonder, when I go out in public in, somewhat female dress and wearing makeup and stuff, do I pass? Am I getting gendered correctly? I think I am until I open my mouth. I've never actually been explicitly called ma'am or some other obvious female salutation or whatever yet. But I think as long as I don't talk, I think I am passing as female. I haven't gathered any evidence that suggests otherwise. I don't have any evidence saying that they do see me as female, but I don't have any evidence suggesting that they don't. However, I am having issues with my voice still. Whenever I go to the grocery store or anything, as soon as I open my mouth, they start calling me sir. I've had cashiers at the grocery store that don't call me sir or ma'am. But if they ask me a question or make small talk or whatever, as soon as I start talking, then they start calling me sir. And it really, really stinks. If I was more bold, I would correct them. I would just say, ma'am, you mean? And but I don't have. I'm scared. I'm scared I would raise a stink if I did that. So I just don't. I tend to sort of withdraw a little bit once someone has called me sir. I tend to stop looking at them and talking with them unless it's just to respond to whatever they say as minimally as possible. So that's pretty much my response. I guess I'm hoping that if I do that, maybe they'll get the idea, since like at the grocery store, it's a lot of the same people that work there day after day. So yeah, I don't know. Should I be correcting them, or is it worth the inevitable pain it'll cause? Or maybe it wouldn't cause any pain. Maybe they would just apologize and switch to the other pronoun. I don't know, but it's something that has to be either dealt with or worked on somehow. I don't know, but that's what's happening so far. But otherwise, walking down the street or whatever, actually, it just occurred to me, I sort of forgot about this. I know that I pass as a female as long as I don't talk, because I've had people catcall me. Right over here, the house beside here, live a bunch of guys who are assholes, and they catcall me, or they haven't recently, but the first couple of days of school, and of course I obviously have to walk by there to go to school, they would catcall me when I walk by them. They'd be sitting on their decks smoking weed and drinking beer or whatever, and when I walked by, they would catcall me, and I wouldn't even look at them or speak. I have my big aviator sunglasses on, and I just hold my head up and I continue walking, and they don't do it. They haven't really done it since then. I think they've realized that I'm not gonna fulfill whatever they want from me. But yeah, anyway, so I know at least to those guys, who probably aren't the brightest bunch anyway, I pass as a female. It's a little infuriating to get catcalled. It's definitely not fun, whether you're a cis woman or a trans woman, but it is very validating. So I appreciate it from that respect. Sort of a big milestone I've made since school has started is that I think I told you guys before what I learned from having to work as a closeted trans woman for the summer. I've learned that I can never do that ever again. From now on, starting now, any job interviews or anything employment related, I have to do as myself, as a female. I can never do that ever again. I can't closet myself anymore. I have to do everything as myself, go into, new jobs and job interviews and stuff as myself. And is it going to make things harder for me? Possibly. I hope not, but dollars to donuts is it possibly will. But it really doesn't matter too much for me anymore, because the pain of having to pretend to be a man in a job is far, far greater than whatever pain I'm going to get from having to go into job interviews as female and possibly jobs as a female and, getting misgendered probably and stuff. That pain's not nearly as much as the pain of being closeted. And so I've actually started doing this already. I am doing employment related activities as a woman now. Already at school, they're doing job recruitment things where companies come to the school to pitch why you should work for them, and they have recruitment staff there that you can go up to and talk to, and they'll take your resume if they want to, and even in some cases they'll interview you right on the spot. So I've been to a couple of those so far, and as a woman, and it's gone really well. One of them was just sort of a presentation. I didn't actually interact with anyone there, but another one was with a company who was at the school, pitching their jobs for co-op students and for graduates. And the cool thing is this company actually offered me a job last year, or actually in the beginning of this summer. This other company had actually offered me a job, but I had already accepted the job that I ended up doing for the summer. So it's really cool because I actually have a relationship with these guys. So these guys were doing an event at school where you could basically just walk up to them and talk to them, and they would pitch about the different jobs that they are hiring for. And yeah, I was wearing a dress and makeup and everything, and I went up to these guys and it was no issue. They spoke to me. They talked about the jobs they had, and they asked what sort of stuff I did, like over the summer, and they asked what I told them, hey, you guys actually offered me a job, and they asked me what that job was about, and I told them how I thought that job was really cool, which is true, and stuff like that, and it all went fine. No misgenders, no questions about what I am, anything like that. It was really, really nice. Now, granted, these were HR staff, like administration staff and human resources staff, and not the actual engineers that I would be working with. And dollars to donuts is, while the HR staff see me just fine, there could possibly be some friction between me and my fellow engineers, because God knows, at least around these parts, a company with a lot of engineers, these engineers are going to be guys in their 50s, 60s even, and engineers are normally rough and tumble kind of guys. It's a lot of the time it's not white collar work, it's blue collar work almost. And you got to be ready for the fact that these guys may very well just not be up to snuff on their LGBT stuff, and they might just immediately see me as a man. And heck, where engineering is such a male dominated field, they might have a little bit of reserve towards a cis woman working with them, let alone a trans woman. So I'm a little worried about what I might be in for, in future jobs with regards to who I'm going to be working with. But like I said, it has to be done. I can't closet myself anymore. So we'll see how it goes when the time comes, and hopefully it won't be too bad. But I am really glad that I'm, getting out into the job market as a female and talking to people, and so far it's all going just fine. So the next topic to talk about is a couple of weeks ago I saw my therapist for the first time since April, and it went great. It was really great to see her again. And I went, it was the first time she saw me in makeup and female clothes and stuff. And like I said, because it was in town, I didn't wear like a dress or whatever, but I wore like gray cardigan and my female jeans and stuff like that. But I wore makeup, and she was really impressed. She said I looked really great. She said I looked very feminine, and she was very impressed with the progress I made, very proud of me for that, which was really great to hear. But as always, there's more work to be done, and she made that clear. She, like I am, she's aware that my voice is probably the biggest missing puzzle piece at this point, maybe the only missing puzzle piece at this point. My voice is holding me back from 100% unequivocally passing in public as a woman. And so she recommends that I go on YouTube and look at MTF voice training videos. I've made really half-assed attempts to train my voice a little higher. Obviously has not worked. I think earlier in the summer I was speaking a bit higher, but now I think I've gone back down again, which really stings. And yeah, obviously what I'm doing isn't working, and so she challenged me to go on YouTube, look at MTF voice training videos, and start actively training my voice. And she's gonna see me again in November, and she wants to see me, do that and hopefully get somewhere on it in time for when I see her again. So I'm going to start doing that, and I'll do my best. I have no idea what I'm in for. Like I said, I don't really like my voice. I think the pitch of it is fine, but of course my voice has this sort of throaty quality to it, and I don't really like that. But yeah, I'll take a look at some videos and we'll see if I can start training my voice higher. But yeah, we had a really great conversation. She was really proud of the progress I made over the summer, and yeah, it was a really good visit. Everything is going perfectly fine. I'm really happy with the progress I'm making. 10 months on HRT as of tomorrow. As a matter of fact, less than a month from now marks the anniversary of my coming out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And that's really cool. And so I'm very excited to get to post some stuff on my social media pages commemorating the 1 year since I came out, and the incredible progress I've made in that 1 year, and thanking all the people that have been there for me and stuff like that. It should be really cool. I can't believe it's been almost a year already. It's just crazy, but everything is going really great, and I'm super happy, and things are just wonderful. But as always, thank you guys so much for your endless support for me, and for following me on my journey. It makes me really, really happy to have the support from you guys. It makes things a lot better, that's for sure. And I'm really happy to be able to continue documenting my continuing story in these videos and on Instagram and everywhere else. The show will go on. Progress continues. We're not done yet, that's for sure. Little subsets of things might be finishing up, like the changes that HRT causes and stuff like that, but there's so much more progress to be made in other areas, and so I will work on those and we'll see how it goes. So thank you guys so much for watching this. This video's probably gotten really long, so if you made it this far, thank you. and I'll see you later.